Well, happy autumn, everyone, and I hope you're really enjoying this fabulous weather. I hope it's really great where you are. I'm in the mountains in New Mexico, and it's stunning. And the aspens, oh my gosh, the colors. And then you get all the reds and, the oaky colors and the browns and everything, the bright yellow and gold of the aspen trees. And oh man, the mountains are just fabulous. I'm so blessed to have the opportunity to live in the middle of all this greatness, this beauty. So I hope you are sharing in the beauty as well. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference between prayer and meditation and how to pray properly. Basically, prayer itself is when you are speaking to God. You usually are asking for something. Um, and meditation is when you listen. Meditation is the process of hearing and learning and becoming aware and tuning in to all that is, tuning into spirit and tuning into God. Prayer really shouldn't be just about always asking for things, because when you keep putting out the um, asking for this to happen and that to happen and this to happen and that to happen and please fix this and do that and yada yada yada. Prayer is something that needs to come from the heart. You have to have passion with your prayer. The sincerity of it is crucial, really important. You do not need another person to pray for you. People have grown up with this conditioning that we have to have a person wearing robes in a church to pray for you. That is not true. Prayer is your personal one-on-one relationship with God. It's you. You speak directly to God. And in so doing, you're speaking to all that is. God is not a separate entity. As much as we'd like to believe that God is over here or up here or wherever God is, and we call God a him, um, God is an energy, is this beautiful, fabulous, all-inclusive, vibrating energy of all that is. God exists within all of creation. God is in you, so you are God. God lives vicariously through you. God lives in the rocks. God is in the trees. God is in all of nature, all of the animals. Every possible thing in creation is a little expression of God. So when you pray, when you're speaking to God, you're actually speaking to all that is, but you are speaking to the God that is within you, because that is God. You are able to access God right here inside, in your soul, in your heart. That is God. It's also not about always saying, hey, I'd like this. I want a new house. I want a new car. I needed this. I needed that. Get me a new job. No. Prayer is your communication with God in, and you've heard this expression before, an attitude of gratitude. When you accept the fact that everything is already out there that you could possibly ever want, it's just a matter of accepting it and thanking God for giving that to you. It's always about the thanks, always about thanking, always about appreciating, being very passionate and putting out the thanks for bringing this to you. Now, certainly not every single thing that you ask for is going to come to you, because maybe it is not in your best interest. It's not for the greater good of you and everything around you. So when you pray, make sure that you really and truly are praying from sincerity. You're not doing lip service. You're not doing anything artificial. You're talking to your best friend. And you want to go ahead and thank God for giving you what it is that you need, not necessarily what you want, but you will get what you need in order to be a better person, in order to accomplish that which is part of your mission for being here. So sincerity is very important. Now, meditation is where you learn to listen. Meditation is tuning in and hearing. Meditation is tuning into that beautiful, special, not only place, we call it a place, but it isn't. It's a frequency that we're tuning into where we can learn and hear. Just like Tesla, just like Einstein, just like Da Vinci. Meditation is a place where you become very quiet and tune into that wonderful, incredible spiritual self within you, that part of God where you will learn, where you can hear. And what can help you a whole lot? Okay, when you meditate, this is something very simple that you can do. Okay, right here, right there is where your third eye is located. That is, I mean, you've got a pineal gland. You've heard about that within, which you can stimulate, which you can trigger, which you can activate to do this incredible connection with God within. And it's not voodoo. It's not unattainable by you. So a very simple thing that you can do, but you have to but practice this, practice, because you will get better. It'll become second nature and you can do this. Now, let's say, for example, you can either, okay, this is one of two things. You can either light a candle and use the candle flame and stare at the candle flame. You can do that. Or if you want to use a painting or a photo of a person, if you have a person in front of you, then look at the third eye on that person and you can stare at that spot, that third eye of that person. So first we're going to do this with the eyes open, and you're just going to be looking and staring at the candle flame, tuning in and just looking at it and watching and watching and watching. And then eventually I want you to close your eyes, but still imagine it. See that candle flame. But now I want you to really, really think about seeing with the third eye. And while your eyes are closed, you can basically behind your eyelids, you can move your eyeballs up. You can move your eyes up so they're looking up with your eyelids closed. And you can imagine that candle flame up there, or the third eye of the person in the photo or the painting. And as you tune into that, you will train your eyes, your mind to just focus in that place rather than using physical eyes. Now, the other thing that really, really helps, once you actually do that and you're tuned into that, you could also imagine a place. And, you know, when I was first meditating, it helped me for years and years and years to have a favorite place that I would imagine that I would see where I would go to have conversations with Sunny. And sometimes I'd talk to Sunny. Sometimes it would be my spirit guide. It would be my grandfather. Sometimes it's God. You never know who's going to show up. It's really quite awesome. For me, my favorite place was always this fabulous clearing in the middle of a forest. And we had this giant boulder. And I would go and sit at that boulder and have conversations with Sunny. You know, and he was this big, tall, 6'7" Native American gentleman. And, you know, he'd show up in his jeans, his cowboy hat, and his boots. And the two of us would sit at this boulder. So when you are meditating, imagine yourself in a particular, you could pick a beach, you could pick a tree house, you could pick any spot that you want. But for me, that was my favorite place. And then I would see myself actually going there. I would see myself taking this path through a forest, and I'd walk through the forest along the path. I'd see myself doing that. And then on the left would be this really cool oak tree, and it had this great big huge limb that came out, and I'd go over and talk to the oak tree and I'd give it a little hug. Sometimes I'd go and climb up and sit on the limb just to kind of commune with the tree. Then I'd get back down and continue walking down the path, and I'd come to a little river. And I'd have to get across that river. So initially, because when you first start meditating, you're still bringing in a lot of your human conditioning, your brain conditioning, your mental conditioning of physicality. So I was doing the same thing. So initially, the only way to get across the river was to see all these stepping stones, these rocks. So I'd have to find a path, or I'd have to build it. I'd have to find rocks, put them in the water, take a step, throw in another rock. And I would make a path across the river, and I'd step across these stones, come up the bank on the other side, go further into the woods, and I'd find this great clearing and this beautiful big boulder. Now, as you progress in your meditation, then certainly things will change. You can walk on water, you can fly over the river. You'd be surprised all the incredible things that start to happen, as you progress, as you do this. But anyway, so there I am this one day. This is a place of learning. This is like you are taking yourself to a particular spot, like a little schoolroom, where you can have a conversation with your mentor, with God, with an angel, with your spirit guide, with anybody who is beautiful and highly elevated, where you listen and you learn. And it's an amazing, amazing thing. So pick your place where you want to go. So for me, here I am. Here's the boulder. This one particular day. Now, I've been going to this spot now, right, at this point for years, for a long time. So this one day, there I am. I get to the clearing and I'm looking around. I don't see anybody. Usually there's someone there, and usually it's sunny. So I go walking over to the boulder, and I'm looking up on top of this great big giant boulder. I'm looking all around it. Mm-mm. My Indian friend's not there. And I'm like, okay, Sunny, where are you? We need to have a conversation. And the reason, see, now they already know why you're going into meditation. They know what your question is. So for me, that particular day, I was just having a question, as many of us do about, oh, who am I really? Or what's my purpose? Or what's my next step in this lifetime? We're always asking these questions. So this particular day, I had a lot on my mind. And I didn't know if I was going down the wrong path or potentially could be going down a wrong path. And I just needed to know what's the right way to go. So I'm standing in front of this giant boulder looking everywhere, can't find Sunny. So I call for him, and all of a sudden, here's my big tall Indian friend comes walking out from behind the boulder, and he's dressed as a monk. And he comes and he stands in front of me with like I dressed like a monk. I got to tell you, it's really odd when you're used to seeing someone who's, tall Native American with, long hair and a ribbon shirt, cowboy boots. And I looked at him and I said, oh, why can't you just be who you really are? What are you doing in this monk getup? Why can't you just be who you really are? And then poof, instantly, he was back in his jeans, his cowboy boots, cowboy hat, and he looked at me and he said, that's what I'm here to say to you. It's time for you to be who you really are. And all of a sudden, I became aware that I had wings. I looked over my shoulder, and yeah, there were feathers. There were like these incredible wings. I was dressed in a white robe, all white, wearing sandals. Not at all what I started out in, and had these white wings. And he looked at me and he said, it is time for you to be who you really are. So, all to say for you, when you have this particular spot, when you pick a favorite place, keep going back there because that will help you often. You get used to that place, you get comfortable in that place. So, if it's a clearing in the forest, great. And you can see all the trees, the rocks, whatever is there, but keep it the same. And you'll be very, very comfortable and be so easy for you to go there each time in meditation. If it's a spot on the beach, um, wherever it is, sometimes I would have conversations with Jesus or another being in a gazebo. We would sit in a gazebo across from each other and have conversations, but it was always the same gazebo. So pick a spot, get used to that. So start out thinking of your third eye, stare at a flame or at a photo or a painting of somebody and look at their third eye, close your eyes, roll your eyeballs up. So you're kind of looking up. And when you look up, you're looking through, see yourself looking through your third eye in between your eyebrows. See yourself doing that. And then imagine this place where you are. And each time you do that, it will get more expansive. You won't necessarily see anybody immediately, but eventually you will. It will start to happen for you. Okay? So let me know if you have any questions. All right. Enjoy the autumn. Bye.